Third time's a charm.
Yeah, we're here. Welcome.
What's up?
Welcome to our first episode of the Frequency Project. Yeah. My name is Joseph Keene, as you can see.
And
And
I'm David Lawrence.
this is David Long.
Hello.
And just we just started this podcast and we want everybody to understand what we're doing with energy. Um, we're both wearing this device called Healy, and it is explain what this is and then go into where you found it and how we all came about doing all this.
Yeah, so um, I guess the first place to start would be college for me.
Hold on, a quick description of like what this device does before you get into all that.
Well, before I get into that, I want to get into talking about why. Like,
Why
I
what?
think just the definition of it isn't enough because it's so confusing. Um,
Okay.
like energy, vibration, all of this stuff that we're talking about, and frequency. Um, they're all connected, and to me, I think it goes as far back as ancient civilizations, even. Like, I've had this fascination with ancient civilizations for a long time, pyramids, and I'm sure a lot of people out there do. And it led me down a path of frequency and vibration through symbolism, like the flower of life and sacred geometry and just geometry and nature in general, which then led me to cymatics, which I think a lot of people have seen those videos around the internet where there's like sand on a plate and then it vibrates and it jumps into this amazing picture. So to me, that was a sign that not only is there frequency vibration in the air that we can't see, but when we do see it, we can see these amazing geometric patterns that are happening, and that all goes into the concept of resonance and finding a resonant frequency within any kind of material object. So, all material objects have resonant frequencies, and those pictures, those geometric pictures that you see, happen when material objects have resonant frequencies. So, then my mind obviously goes to, do our bodies have resonant frequencies? Do we have resonant frequencies? And what would that look like? So then I'm sure a lot of people have heard of sound healing and vibration and, even those Tibetan singing bowls and the glass and crystal singing bowls tuned to very specific frequencies. And this goes back to ancient civilizations. This is knowledge that humans have known for a long time. And for whatever reason, which I think we're going to get to in a lot of these podcasts, we haven't been given this knowledge. It hasn't been passed down to us like it used to be. So fast forward to, oh my God, fast forward to this last, what was it, March 2020. I'm on a plane finishing a contract out.
Oh, sorry.
What was that?
Sorry. I'm trying to play a little clip in the background of like the patterns.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. But the sound came on. Sorry.
So fast forward to March of 2020. I'm on a plane, and Melissa and I just finished a contract in Australia, our eighth contract, in fact. And March 2020, we're on a plane flying from Brisbane to Melbourne. And this guy is wearing a device on him and is blinking, and it looks like this. Oh yeah, so here's a picture of the cymatics. Sir Hans Jenny did these experiments in the 70s. And before that, a guy named Chladni, Chladni, he took metal plates and he struck them with a violin bow.
Hmm.
I think, I don't know exactly when that was, but it was way before the 1970s. I think it was like the 1800s.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So between Sir Hans Jenny and um, I think it's Chladni or Chladni plates, these two guys kind of pioneered the way of this um, visual representation of resonance. So imagine those sand particles are atoms or cells in your body or airwaves. And then you kind of start to see that resonant frequencies within any material object will produce geometric patterns. And so the hypothesis of Sir Hans Jenny and Chladni was that there must be an underlying vibration within the earth that is making some of the things in nature perfectly symmetrical and geometrical.
Hmm. Like the shape of like rose petals and flowers and stuff, right? Like
Yeah. Or
always exactly perfect and exactly the same.
yeah, I mean you cut open fruit, you you can even look at macro and micro versions of this. You can look at the whole earth and look at riverway systems and then look at the pathways in your brain and look at the your lungs, how things are very geometric and symmetrical.
Yes.
So to me, that really sparked a massive light bulb in my head to say there's something here. When you look at yogis and they're meditating and they have these geometric and symmetrical pictures, the Sri Yantra. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Sri Yantra, but it's also a very geometric, symmetrical kind of picture. And the idea is that when you meditate, you can see these pictures in your mind's eye, the third eye, if you will.
Hmm.
And the combination of doing yoga and having these mystical experiences that I can't really explain or talk about to a lot of people. And then also having this path within science that's kind of proving these resonant frequencies are everywhere and vibration is everywhere. And then having the idea that quantum mechanics is showing us that everything is electricity and the language of the universe is electricity and energy. Einstein and Tesla were really talking about that over and over and over again.
Well, then you
And
touched on it for a second, but like, what do you feel is like the connection between meditation and these frequencies? Because I've been trying to figure this out. Because when I first got this Healy device, I was like, oh, maybe because I'm always looking for, for reasons to not meditate, even though I know that I need to meditate all the time because of the type of person I am.
right.
But I'm thinking, oh, maybe this frequency thing will take the place of meditation, but it doesn't. I've noticed that it's not the same.
Yeah, no, I don't think it replaces that. I think it's more of a tool to enhance it.
Right.
Um, so Zen monks, so your brain has different brain waves. You know that, right? Like we can now put a put the fancy scientific cap on your head and know that our brain is emitting light waves that we can measure, which is measurable energy.
Is
So
it
our
light waves,
thoughts,
electrical?
yeah, our brain waves are electrical frequencies that are giving off light waves, proton or photon energy, which is fascinating, because you have this science side that we're proving, and then you have the woo woo side of people are like thoughts become things,
Yes.
manifest, and everybody makes fun of that shit, but it's real. Like, it is 100% real. We are in this moment in time and space where we are proving that that is true, that we know that our thoughts are giving off energy. So so going back to, you said the connection between meditation and geometric shapes. So we can measure now brain waves, and we know that there are brain states, that there's alpha, um, which alpha happens when you're running, that runner's high. Um, Zen monks go into alpha to meditate. It's a lot of business and entrepreneur elite people go into alpha state in order to channel the higher version of themselves that is unstoppable. I don't know if anybody out there has had a runner's high, have felt that, um, when you kind of reach that point where your breath and your heartbeat and the rhythm of you running all kind of syncs up together to this one thing, and then you feel like you are unstoppable. That alpha state is a state that we can measure called alpha. Beta is just your waking regular state. Like, I'm probably in beta right now. You're probably in beta right now. It's just kind of our basic operating state. Um, and then you have other higher states like theta, gamma, and delta. Theta is an an altered waking dream. So a lot of shamans use theta. They go into a theta state to go into dream time, experiences, astral projection. All of those things are in theta, and it's measured. You can measure it. Gamma is more of an intense transcendental meditation. So a lot of people think that Buddha and Christ were using gamma waves and gamma frequency waves within their thoughts and their body to emit massive waves of energy. And then you have delta, which is basically deep, deep, deep sleep. Deep sleep is delta. So they say that delta is very healing when you go into that deep sleep and you kind of black out. There's probably a couple more in there, but those are the ones that I know and I experiment with myself. You can experiment using binaural frequencies, to force your brain into these states. Um, I wouldn't say force; it's more like a gently guide. Because in order to reach those brain states, you can't use your brain to think about it. You have to allow your brain to just make it happen. Um, so I think we're in this period where we're bridging this gap to science and things that we already knew. So Zen monks, shamans, transcendental meditators have been around for thousands of years. This is something that humanity has known for thousands of years. Ancient civilizations have known for thousands of years. And um, now in this Western world, we seem to have just kind of left that aside and have called it woo woo until, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. Does that make sense when I say woo woo? Like, people make fun of all the hippies and people make
Like
fun of,
conspiracy, weird, like whatever shit.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
I-
we kind of get what you're saying, but like whatever.
yeah, it's like that's for the fairies, or that's
Yeah,
for like fantasy, or that's not real life, you
yeah.
know?
This is what we were talking about yesterday, where it's like everybody is affected by this, but most are unaware to the level at which we're talking about. It's affecting your body right now. If somebody's like walks in the room, this will kind of recap a little bit of what we talked about yesterday. But like, if somebody walks in the room and they're in an angry mood, and they're just like yelling and screaming, and they're just like got this energy, you feel it, right? And then it's affecting you. That's happening all the time, all around you, by all things that you come in contact with. Except those moments are when the normal person becomes aware of this because it's so in their face.
I
But
I
like
also
birds and like the grass and a tree are giving off the same things, but they're very just calming and gentle and good vibrations for the most part, right? And so you just take that for granted. Most people do, I think.
I agree. I think we all take a lot of that for granted, and um it's time to slow down and tap into that and figure out um how it all works. Because if you look at nature, talking about the trees and the wind and the rain and seasons, the sun, like everything just works. It just works. The sun feeds the trees give off oxygen, we breathe oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide, the trees breathe carbon dioxide, like everything just works synergistically together. And I think if you want to find out more about yourself, look at nature. And so that's kind of where this is coming from. But I also don't assume that people don't know what we're talking about, because you go to the basic level and almost everybody now uses the word vibe. You know what I mean? Like, this is like become so popularized now. It's like everyone is waking up to the idea that when somebody walks into the room, they have an energy and it's a vibe. And we can all say that. And most people nowadays, like, even if you know nothing about quantum mechanics or physics or anything, that's something that it's like we can all relate to. We can all feel that, that people are giving off a vibe. And to me, that is just the beginning of this whole journey in understanding maybe more things that are happening that we can't see. And I think a lot of people like Tesla and Einstein and there's a ton of physicists in this modern day age that are talking about quantum mechanics now, and even Buddhist monks like Thich Nhat Hanh and Deepak Chopra and a lot of these modern people are rehashing these ancient techniques and trying to bridge the gap between our Western mind and um, this ancient knowledge. And I think in order to bridge that, we need something that we can understand. And this, to me, is the beginning of that. Um, this Healy device was something that I feel like I knew was the future of wellness and healing way back when I was looking at cymatics. I'm like, if vibrations can do this to a metal plate, what can it do to our bodies if we're sick? If we know what a wellness state of vibration would be for our body, could we then use vibration to bring us back into balance and be well again? And the answer is yes. This scientist, Nuno Nina,
No
from
need.
Portugal, and Marcus Schmike, who's a monk and an entrepreneur now, and Christian Halprin, who is a conscious billionaire who has a chain of vegan restaurants in um, Vienna, I think, in Eastern Europe. I'll just keep it general because I don't want to get it wrong. Um, these three guys got together and they basically manifested this device with a lot of research they've been doing on frequencies in the human body. They've discovered 144,000 different frequencies. Was that for the impact there? The zoom in.
Oh, no, I mean,
It was like boom. 144,000 frequencies that resonate with your body for physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Um, I met this guy named Peter on a plane, like I was saying earlier, flying from Brisbane to Melbourne. And as I was flying with Melissa, we're having a couple of drinks and celebrating the um, finish of our eighth contract. And we were on the beginning of our adventure, which was to be a month long trip across Australia that we had planned 6 months prior. So as we are sitting on the two seats, I'm in the middle, Melissa's by the window, and Peter's by the aisle. After, of course, the first drink, I'm like warmed up. Because when I first saw this device, I was like, is this a medical device? Like, I probably don't want to ask him about it if it's like a
Like you thought it was like
heart.
attached to one of his organs or some shit.
Right. Like he could be diabetic or he could be, um, it could be a heart monitor or something like that. So I didn't
That's
want
what
to be
it's like.
rude. But I mean, he was our age and he looked healthy, and so after a drink, which is really good by the way, it was like a dyed gin that was purple from pea flowers. It was really weird, but um, after that one drink, I was like, hey, I don't even remember how I said it or what, but I was just kind of like got into conversation, and then basically just asked him outright, like, what is that you're wearing? It's not a shuffle. It's not a music device. Because I noticed that it had wires. There wasn't any, you know, anything going to his ears. And then he had these wristbands on. And yeah, he's just wearing it. So he said it's a microcurrent device that delivers frequencies to your body in real time. I was like, this can't be a coincidence, number one. Number two, I want to try it. So basically, I think he felt all of that. And he's like, do you want to try it? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I put it on. Each treatment's like 30 minutes to an hour. And the one that I decided to do was energy. And immediately I felt this rush of energy through my body. Well, I shouldn't say immediately. After about 10 minutes in, I started to feel this like shoot of energy from my spine, up my back, down my arms, and it was like it was pretty intense. And so I just was kind of quiet about it, but also not because I'm not a very quiet person and I don't really hold things back too much. So I was like, holy shit, but then like kind of chill too. Um, I let the treatment go, and then by the time it was done, it was probably the wrong program to run on a plane because I'm sitting in a seat, and all I want to do now is like just get up. Like I could have ran, I could have like gone to the gym, or like it was that kind of energy,
Yeah.
cough, like anxious energy. So then Melissa ran a program after me. She ran Pure, which energy and Pure are in the gold. It's like the gold programs, which Nuno Nina, the 144,000 frequencies that he came up with, are in 8 different programs within the gold frequency package. Um, and it's kind of like the beginning to frequencies for your body. So Peter was like, "Yeah, this is always kind of the good place to start because they're pretty generic in a sense that energy or relax or pure or release. These are kind of programs that anybody could basically run at any time." Um, so Melissa ran Pure, and then she was like, "Oh, I didn't really feel anything." The next day, so after the flight, it was a really short flight. I don't know if you know from like Brisbane to Melbourne, it's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes or something. Maybe it was a little bit longer, but it was a short flight. Yeah, it had to be longer because we both ran programs. But so we get to our friend's house, we have dinner, we go to sleep, we wake up. And Melissa wakes up and she's like, feels like she has a hangover. but we didn't drink the night before. We had a couple of drinks on the plane and with dinner, like maybe a glass of wine, but it's not like we partied hard or anything. And she remembered running that Pure program. And then we read about the Pure program, and it's basically a detox program.
Mm.
So the interesting thing was like the energy I felt right away, but the Pure Melissa felt like the next day because it took a while for her body to go into that like detox state. And we've done lots of detoxes, so we know what those feel like. And that's what it kind of felt like to her. So this was March of 2020. We tried that. That happened. We traveled Australia for a month. And as we're traveling through Australia, all of the tickets that we bought 6 months in advance was like the only word I can use to describe it is synchronicity because it's like it all happened like it was supposed to happen. Obviously, COVID just started, right? COVID was starting to hit land. And as we were flying through the different states in Australia, the day that we flew, or the next day after we flew, every single time for that month, that city or that state closed.
Mm.
And we had bought these tickets 6 months in advance. So we weren't scrambling to get out of there. We weren't stressed because it was like all of this was happening behind us. Like we were on this wave riding it, and there's nothing that we had to do because everything was pre planned and everything just worked out.
Well, hold on. You think that that has something to do with the Healy?
I think to me it's I follow signs that happen and I don't look at anything as a coincidence. I think that things happen for a reason, and I guess that's my belief in life. And when things are so blatant like that to me, I can hardly ignore it. So, like meeting Peter on the plane and then me having to have a physics degree in energy and resonance science, like that to me is not a coincidence. Us booking the plane tickets and then as we're leaving these states, we left Brisbane and then it shut down, then we'd leave Melbourne and then it shut down, then we'd leave Sydney and then it would shut down, and then we went back to Brisbane and it was shutting down, and then we had to fly home April 1st. So all of this to say that I think it was the beginning for me to realize that not only do things happen for a reason, but I think that we also have an influence with our energy on our environment around us. And now having this device for 2 years, I can honestly say that it does something to my energy that is for the better, especially in this day and age when almost everything that we do in our daily life, in a Westerner's point of view, takes from our energy, right? Like we get in a car and we're stuck in traffic. No matter how positive you are, if you get like three red lights in a row and then you're stuck in traffic and then you smell the exhaust of another car, you're just kind of like, man, this sucks. Those thoughts get put out there. That's energy because we know that's energy. Those feelings get put out there. That's energy. So, this device to me is like you come back home and then you recharge, you get your energy back, and beyond that, it has the capability to scan your energy in real time. With this inside, there's a quantum sensor that scans your energy in real time and then is able to access all the programs that you have and then tell you which program you need to run right now. Then, once you run that program, the actual program, when in and of itself, has a select group of frequencies that are in there, and as it's scanning your energy in real time, it's giving you the frequencies that you need in that moment. So not only does it hone in on which program to run, within that program is the select frequencies for that program. And then in real time, it's delivering those frequencies to you. So, like right now, I'm running coherence and there's 8 minutes left, and it's running these frequencies because the quantum sensor is telling the program which frequencies to run in real time. So to me, the technology, if you look up vibrational healing or music healing or sound healing, or even frequency therapy, it dates back to thousands of years that we talked about before. But frequency therapy has been around since the 1800s. And if you can imagine what those analog devices looked like, they look like a supercomputer used to look like. In a big room, they'd have, cables for all the frequencies, and then you'd hook the frequency up to yourself. And they were just kind of trying to figure out which ones worked and which ones didn't. There's a lot of research that's been done, and a lot of different scientists that have done frequency therapy in the past, but it's up until now that we have smartphones that we can deliver all of them to your body with a tiny little device like this. And to me, that's where this is taking it to a whole nother level of portability and ease of use.
Mm.
So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So in a nutshell, I mean, the Healy device. So David's been working with this Healy for what, like 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's
I didn't finish that we bought it in May when we came back. So
yeah.
after our whole trip, we came back to the US and bought it.
So were you like skeptical when you actually purchased it?
Of course.
Okay.
I'm always skeptical. I am a curious questions asking person, always, no matter what. Even if someone comes up and tells me, "Hey, the sky is blue." I'm like, "Is it really? Let me do a little Google research. Let me find out." Or
Why
why is it blue? You know
is
what I
the
mean?
sky blue? Yeah.
And that's actually a fun little rabbit hole in and of itself, why the
It is.
sky is blue, you know?
I've been down there. I forget what the reasoning is. Do you remember or no?
I think it's something about the sun's
Spectrum
reflection off
off
of
the
the
atmosphere.
atmospheric particles
Yeah.
make it blue. I
Yeah.
could have butchered that, but you can Google it and it'll be a fun little rabbit hole for you, and then you could tell us again because I've forgotten.
But all right, so you were skeptical when you bought it, and then how long before you were sold on? You were like, "This is legit." Like, was it weeks? Was it a couple days? Was it months?
Well, from the first time that I used it, I was sold, and then even the second, third, and fourth, as I was using it, I was blown away by how accurate it was. By that I mean when you run the program to it's called resonance. When you run the resonance program to find out which program your body needs right now, to me, every time that it would suggest the program, it was really spot on. So, like, I'd get back from the gym and it would say, run the muscle program or run the regeneration program, which is the fitness program set that is available. Um, if I like, this was kind of funny, but like anytime me and Melissa get out of the shower, a lot of times the beauty program comes up. It's like you're taking care of your skin, hair, and nails kind of thing. I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Um, a ton of times where I've had issues with my stomach, gastrointestinal program has come up. And if you lay down and you've got an upset stomach with that, it will be relieved in 20 minutes. Like, I've run the pain programs when I've had pain in my back. Um, I've run the pain programs on my mom's boyfriend who has sciatica, and after 3 times of running it, he was like jumping up and down and like doing forward bends, and he's like, "Holy crap, what is this?"
Hmm.
Um, I will say, it does take some effort because it's an app and you have to learn it. And as
Yeah.
you kind of learn what works best for you and how to use it in your life, to me, it's just another tool for wellness, which, we're in this day and age where everyone's being prescribed tons of pills and eating super processed, unhealthy foods. And even the water that's coming out of the tap, like we were talking about yesterday, is not good for you. So at the end of the day, to me, that's all energy. And to me, this is giving you energy. So,
Okay, so it took you like a little while to run through it and like really be like, okay, this is well. But you said on your first day you were like, okay, this is like legit. So, but then you kept using it, and then it was just like on point after one day after another. You're saying.
yeah, I feel like my nature is to be skeptical. So the other part is you start using it and then it's working and you're like, am I like just making myself think that it's working? Like, am I just like, this must be just me saying that it's working? And after 2 years, I don't even question it anymore. Like, I just use it. And now I figured out like how it works best for me in my daily life.
So, so anyway, so you had it for the past 2 years. How long ago? About like a month ago, maybe I got mine. We were
Yeah.
talking about it, and yeah, and and I just thought about this while you were talking that you have always been. I mean, you grew up in Washington State. You were always out in like the wilderness, right? You were in the woods and playing around outside. You're a nature guy,
True.
right? Ever since I like
True.
met you, you always wanted like right now. The By the way, David wanted to do all this on his cell phone so he could be out in parks and whatever. But it just didn't work out. He's still working on that, but he's in his back there, and you can see trees because that's how you are. So what I'm saying with that is that I feel as though, and I just well, like I said, I just realized this while you were talking, is that you are more probably because of your experiences and with whatever you've done in your life, even psychedelics and all kinds of other stuff, and you being very connected to nature. You've always been probably more aware, self-aware than most, maybe, and connected to nature, right? Would you
Maybe.
say yes?
Well, I really try not to ever compare myself to anybody else. That's kind of like a motto for me. So it
Well, I mean,
always
okay,
like,
okay.
but I get what you're saying. Like,
You are
I would never say, oh, I am like, because I was raised in the woods,
no, no,
I
no,
know
no. You
more
I
about
haven't gotten
the
to the
tree.
point yet. So just you're agreeing, right? Like this is kind of how you
It is my experience for sure,
are. Okay.
100%. It's my experience that, I was raised and I had an open forest to run in my entire youth. I
Mhm.
was also raised by parents who we had like a book in the kitchen that was called Natural Healing. And anytime like we had a headache or a stomach ache, there was like a remedy for that. And my dad would like blend it up in the blender. We had a juicer, we had a blender. We always like I never had, I should say never. Soda for us or Pepsi or Coke was always like a really big treat. And it was never anything that I had on the regular. So I had water and milk and natural food. My mom cooked a lot. So that is my experience. Yes.
Right. So, I mean, my whole point here is so comparing it, me and you, our experience with it, because I'm going to get into my experience with it so far. Um, but someone like you who is already very aware, connected, aware of all these frequencies, schooling of frequencies, all this other stuff, for someone like you, a device like this you may connect to it a lot, maybe faster and be aware of all the subtleties that are happening with this because you're so in touch with how you feel and going through detoxes and all this other stuff, right?
Well, and
Now,
also being a performer, like, so that's what I was
right,
doing in
so very
Australia.
physically
And that's
fit.
all about using your energy and, yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
and then being in front of people and like feeling their energy and like giving out energy to on stage and stuff like that. So I think you have a lot of experiences that make this a very ideal thing for you. So, and I'm not saying that you have to be that type of person to use this. What I'm saying is I come from a little bit different background. Like, I mean, I also ate pretty healthy growing up. We didn't have soda really a lot either. Candy. I didn't. I'm not. I didn't. I don't have a sweet tooth. Things like that. I was outside as well. We didn't have like these like immense like forests to run through. You guys probably had like the redwood forest and shit like that out there, right? You know, and so you were
I mean,
out
it
in nature.
wasn't a redwood forest, evergreen forest.
Yeah, but like
Close enough. Yeah,
you also did a lot of like camping too, right? And travel. So
tons.
I
Yeah.
I was not so much like that, but we did have like a lake house. So mine was like in my mind, as far as like nature stuff and being connected to the earth, I didn't really connect to that until I actually met you really and when we went to college together for sound engineering at Full Sail.
Yeah.
But prior to that, like you helped me connect all that stuff, I think. And what I'm trying to say is like I think for someone like you get this device and you're like, holy shit, this is what I've been like missing all my life. And someone like me, I'm like skeptical just like you. And I bought it because I am constantly trying to better myself, my health, my mind, my capacity to manage stress, all these things, right? So, talking to you over the years and watching you go through this experience with this, I was like, okay, maybe this is time. It's time to do this. Let's and then we start talking about this like podcast thing where we're just going to talk about this and then have like people on and experience the device themselves and kind of give us their uh, aspect on it and 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 so my experience with it over the past month has been probably not as uh, accurate and just like this is the one thing in life. Like I've had moments with this where I'm like, oh, okay, there's something there. There's definitely something there. But I'm still getting to, I guess, know myself and the frequencies that I'm emitting and things that are coming in. And I'm slowly starting to figure that out through this.
It,
That's also another process that you go through when you begin to meditate on a regular basis too, right?
right.
Because you're like quieting everything down and just like zenning out. So it's just you're either like bugging out in your mind or you're bringing it back and being aware of all of these things that are happening, and that's kind of like the calm side of it. Um, so this is a similar to that, except it's like for me, it's like an overwhelming overload of like because there's so many programs, and I think I like most people would just like something that would be like, okay, you clip this on, you put the things on, you press the scan button, it tells you exactly what to do. And I think that's where this thing wants to be. It's not exactly there yet, but it's getting close. It's a little, I would say a little, I think you've used the word like clunky because it's only been around for about a year and a half, 2 years now. Like you got on like right when it started. Like that guy just got
Yeah, it
this
was.
just got it when you got it.
Yeah, it was. Well, two things. I want to go back a second because you said for a person that you know you particularly, you said this is now making you more aware of the energy that you're emitting and maybe what you need. And to me, going back to what I said earlier, that's what I think this is. It's bridging that gap of
Yeah.
Westerners' convenience and that ancient knowledge that we know we are energy.
Mm.
So we are energy, and then now science is saying we are energy, and our Western mind though is like, no, that can't do that. I need to take a pill to feel better. Or no, that can't do that. Like that doesn't make sense. My doctor didn't prescribe it. Or no, that doesn't make, and I feel like you already are experiencing what I was experiencing when I first started it too. And that
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, now you are aware that it's giving you some kind of thing. It's something is happening, but then you're also made aware that, oh, if it's giving me this kind of energy, these frequencies, then I'm also probably emitting certain frequencies as well. And just that awareness is the beginning to me
Mm.
of the change that can be made within everyone, and then communities, and then really the world. I know that sounds like kind of hokey, but if we all were to be made aware that we are energy, and if we all knew how to control that energy in a way that could benefit everybody, we would be living in a different world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I drive down the freeway and people don't even use their freaking blinkers. Like they don't even care about other people. They're not aware
Well,
of other
I think
people.
everybody does care, but like you said, they're not aware.
Aware.
They're not thinking that the car that they just cut off could have a kid in the back seat or whatever. They're on their own, which I don't blame anybody for that. It's just it's when you finally realize that we're all like connected, and yeah, maybe this guy like flicked you off or something, but he's probably got his problems and his day went sideways because of whatever, like, and you start thinking about things from a different perspective. You realize that we're all connected, and how are we connected? Through energy, right?
100%. It boils down to me to energy every single day. And I feel like it took me 2 years of skepticism and aha moments with this device to have that like, remember I called you and I was like a crazy person. I was like, I everything is energy, man. Everything. I'm like, seriously, everything is energy. And you're
Mm.
like, okay, okay. I said that to Melissa too. It sounds crazy, and it also sounds really rudimentary and simple, but the aha moment for me was really like, if everything truly is energy, then everything that I do is my energy. So how can I maximize that? How can I really enjoy what I love doing all the time, because that is my energy expending? Like when you look at so many people in this 9 to 5 cycle, which I will say COVID was like a massive pattern interrupt, right? There was like a, everybody's going to work 9 to 5, and that's just what you do, and that's what you have to do. You go to school to get that job, to work for that company, that then you retire after X amount of years, and that's just is what it is. But now we're seeing those 60 and 70-year-old people retiring, and they're going back to work because that company wasn't loyal to them, because they fired them right before they got their retirement. And that's what it's all about, the bottom line always, if they can hire somebody that to work for cheaper, and that's the way that businesses operate, and that's the world we live in. So how do we create a new way? And to me, that aha moment was about energy, that if I go and do something with myself, with my energy, with my thoughts and feelings and everything that I bring, how can I bring that all together and really have more control over it than, say, just stepping out the door thinking that I have no control over life? I have no control over my energy. Therefore, everything is happening to me.
Mm.
And to me, those are two completely different perspectives, right? Like, I walk out the door and I can control how my day goes because I'm thinking consciously about it, I'm acting on it, and everybody and everything that comes into my path, I am deciding to interact or not, because it's either going to benefit my energy or not.
Mm.
And as opposed to walking out the door and, oh, this just happened to me. It was awful. And then now this is happening to me. And now this is awful. And now I have to go to work and I don't like it, but I have to do it. And then I'm going to drive home in traffic and I don't really like this either, but it's happening to me. It's all happening to me and I have no control over it. And I hear that a lot with people. And I feel like just you saying alone that in your first month you're already having awareness about your energy, that to me is what it was about for me.
Mm.
Awareness of energy, that I am energy, that I have energy, and that my energy is worth something too.
Now I was always like aware of that part of it, but as far as like because there's so many different programs that you can run, uh, like and then within each of those programs there's these other sub programs or whatever, um, that I there's some stuff that you don't realize, but like for example, um, I have back issues. I had originally kind of broke it down to, when I had my daughter, I was like holding her so much, and like I wouldn't put her down until she fell asleep, and like I knew I was like fucking my back up. So I think it's part of that, but then also I was very stressed out at that time too, right? Having a newborn, work, and getting married and stuff like that, and what I realized through this device is that I now hold my stress back there, right? And then there's a program in here called acute stress, I believe, and then it tells you literally to put the sticky pad things where these things connect between your shoulder blades, exactly where my back is fucking killing me all the time. I also blamed it on my bed, which I need a new bed too. So I think it's a combination of things. It's like, yeah, me holding my daughter for hours at a time 2 years ago didn't help my back, and the bed probably doesn't help my back either because I probably need a new particular bed for my back. But probably the main thing is like stress, right? And stress is probably more along of an energy thing. And anyways, I ran it. I've run it a few times, and yeah, my back's pretty good. Um, Now it sucked last week. Um, so, but my back has been better and worse at times too. And I've like done things, and I've like got massages, and it goes away. So like, there's that part of it too, where I'm like, all right, but I think it's like a hybrid of everything. I like you said, this is like a tool to enhance and can help, but it's not like something that's just gonna take away all your pain. Like you have the awareness comes in where, like, say you do have some sort of um, what you mentioned it before, your
Sciatica.
sciatica, right? A lot of people have a sciatica, right? But where does that really actually stem from, right? Uh, does it is it because you like lifted something up physically and you fucked up your back, or were you already, do you carry your stress back there? There's all these different layers that can add to it, and you need to take care of each layer, including the energy and frequency that is being held in certain parts of your body, right? um, for example, my buddy just hit me up the other day, and he's telling me that he's got you know a tumor on his adrenal gland, right? So, and then the doctor's telling him what because he's like, where did I get this from? How does this just happen, right? And the doctor's literally like, well, these things just happen, we don't know, but I do know that this is the doctor talking. The doctor's like, I do know that you have a small tumor on the adrenal gland, which is increasing your cortisol levels, which is creating anxiety for you. And of course my friend's like, oh my god, that's why I have anxiety. But I know that this person is a highly stressed person since we were kids, and it's probably in reverse. Stress induced tumor,
Tumor.
essentially. Like, you can be so stressed out and hold your stress in certain areas, right? And your adrenal gland actually is what is regulating your stress levels in your body, right? So you could be so stressed out, you could start actually mutating cells in your body to create a tumor, which then creates, an excessive level of cortisol in your body, and then you have the anxiety. But it's really like the anxiety was first, the stress was first, and then created all these problems. Now he's got a tumor, he's going to get surgery and stuff, right? But there's a way that that could have been prevented, I think, via energy, in awareness. Did you get what I'm saying here, real quick?
Oh, 100%. I'm with you 100%. I mean, obviously, this gets into a topic that I think can be uncomfortable for a lot of people, or um, mostly just maybe because they've never heard of alternative health,
Or they
and
hear that and they're like, oh yeah, that's some like holistic hippie shit, you know?
right, which is interesting to me because everything used to be holistic and alternative medicine until the Rockefellers came in and invented the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
So, which you can look up, the Flexner report that happened in the 1920s, which eradicated all of alternative medicine and holistic healing, which used to be the norm. It was never normal to have pills being crammed down our throats for every ailment. And I will also say that every pill is derived from some plant,
Right, right.
um, which we used to take before. So, but the problem with plants is you can't patent them and you can't make $1 trillion industry off of it, and you can't keep people sick to keep putting money in your pocket.
Yeah.
So to me, that's my perspective, and that's what I see. So I'm 100% on board with you, but it's
I'm always
obviously
skeptical about like convenient things, the convenience of anything, right? Because people will be like, oh, so I could go this holistic route and start changing my diet and do whatever, and maybe start meditating and doing all these other things, but that takes too much time. Instead, I can just take this pill and it'll all go away. But every time you take the pill, there's some sort of repercussion to that. Most of the time, even if you take antibiotics, now, before even antibiotics, before we were like, okay, antibiotics is a natural thing, it's a fungus that goes in and kills off all the bad, but it also kills off all the good shit too. So like, there is, most pills don't have, just do nothing except for attack the problem, right? um uh, Hemp does, marijuana does, because you have receptors, endocannabinoid receptors in your body that match directly with the cannabinoids. But most other pills don't. They're gonna do something else to you, whether it's today or 10 years from now or 30 years from now. If you continuously take these things, it's going to build up some sort of toxin in your body, and you're going to have to get rid of that somehow, and there's going to be another problem, the surgery or whatever the fuck it is. So anyways, this the convenience of that has transformed our whole medical industry now, and everybody just looks for the convenience. Like, people watch these commercials and it's like they don't even hear what the fuck they're saying, like, with all like the side effects and shit. One of them I heard, it was like, could cause like freaking what was it, mental, like
suicidal thoughts and death.
suicidal thoughts. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not taking that. I don't give a fuck what that shit does.
Well, I will say, just as an aside and just as a disclaimer, I think that there is a place for Western medicine for sure. Like, my dad was a EMT, and without a lot of the trauma care that we have in place for Western medicine, people would be dead. There are lots of medications and lots of IV drips and things that we can do if you've been in an accident and you're bleeding to death and you need to stop it, and coagulators. There's so many things out there that are of use in Western medicine. I'm not saying I'm all like hippy dippy, and if I chop off my leg, I'm just gonna like rub a butt on there and then it's gonna be all good. like I'm going to go to the hospital.
Yeah,
But
it's like
um,
it's that it should be utilized for emergency type of stuff or things that have gotten out of control. So
a
say you have
chronic illness,
like
right?
stage 4 cancer and you haven't been aware of it, you didn't know it, and then all of a sudden, like, something starts happening in your body. Okay, well, this holistic shit isn't going to work right away or at
And
all.
and that's the other side of it. So, bringing your buddy back into this and what you just said, the other side is if you do holistic and alternative healthcare as a daily practice, you
Mm.
won't get to that point where you have a tumor on your adrenal gland. And
Preventative.
that may
Yeah.
or may not be true, but like this guy, and I also know lots of people who have very unhealthy habits that they are unaware of or are too lazy to want to implement something else in their life that they know is better for them.
Mm.
Um, and I feel like this is something you can do every day to check in with yourself and see what's going on. And it's going to deliver frequencies to help get you back in balance. If you are all energy and this is energy giving you energy, it's only going to bring you back into balance, which if you're out of balance for a long time, physical things in your body will manifest.
Mm.
Whether it's anxiety or stress or something worse like a tumor, something will manifest in the body if you are out of balance for a long time. I don't know if you've ever heard of somebody breaking up dis-ease. When you have a disease, it's dis-ease. You're out of balance.
Mm.
And that's what this is all about, is bringing your bioenergetic body, the electricity, the energy of your body back into balance. And every single day it's being thrown out of balance, whether we like it or not. Like as zen as I try to be, as good as I try and eat, as soon as I leave the door, you don't have control over everything. You
Right.
only have control over how you act and react to it. So I choose to have a practice that's every day, that's holistic, and check in with myself. And I think that it's important for us to bring ourselves back into balance if we are out of balance. And a lot of times we don't even know we're out of balance.
Right. That's the thing, right? That's the awareness, right? And this is what I'm talking about. So like this is come full circle now. Like someone like you has been through unique experiences in life and of how where you've traveled, how you were raised, all these other things, which makes it a little bit easier for you to be more aware of certain things right off the rip, right? So I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that, like, I would say, this is for everyone. Everybody can benefit from this. Everybody, no matter what your thoughts are on holistic medicine or whatever, right? But I would say most are not going to um, aren't going to
Resonate with
register
it.
at first because of just the skepticism and whatever, right? And that's okay. That's okay too, because Peter ran into you on a plane, right? Like you guys actually physically connected. You had a good conversation. You understood what the device did. You tried it for yourself, and then it changed your thoughts on this, right? That can happen for anybody. So I don't know where I was trying to go with this, but I'm just saying, like, the person that goes to the doctors multiple times a year, they maybe don't eat all organic, they don't really work out, um, they're not going to even listen to this podcast first off, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't
And
say
if
that.
they do,
I
then they're
wouldn't
going to
say
be
that.
very skeptical. But I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that not everybody is going to initially jump on board with this, and that's okay, because there are people like
This
you and
is a
that are talking
and this
about.
is a journey that we're putting out there. That's why.
And for David and I, we've discussed this. This is like a long term. This is like the rest of our lives thing right now. Like, we'd be happy that in 50 years, when we're fucking whatever, 90 years old,
25.
uh, that there's we even walk by somebody that's just wearing a Healy, and we're just like walking with our canes, like, and we're like, hey, that's cool. Maybe we helped facilitate somebody's mind towards wanting to get one of those. But anyways, and let me get back to, so clearly I'm far more skeptical about this than David, right? And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I was there 2 years ago. Trust me. That's why we have chosen to do this, because I waited for a long time to like come out of the Healy closet, I guess you would say, because this is like, I mean, me and my wife have been doing this for 2 years, and we've told a few people. Some of our family members have been using it, and it's just like one of those things. Like, is this really working? Like, do I want to tell people that this is what we're doing? Like, and at this point, I'm like, it's helped me so much that I want to see how other people react and act with it. And I feel like for you, now that you're on this journey, this is a perfect time to do this podcast, because we are on a journey. It's a project. It's a frequency project that we are running, and
yeah,
we are putting our energy out there into the ether, and people are either picking up on it or not picking up on it, and that's what frequency is. So it's a
right.
project, and it's what we're doing.
I'm
I
actually
think there's a good.
I'm actually running energy because I just did the scan and it told me that I need energy right now.
Oh my god!
I don't know why.
Right after talking about it.
But like,
See, those are the kinds of things that happen every single day when you start using this. Like,
right, so
it
so
not
this
only
is
happens with the programs, it happens in your life. You like say, "Oh, babe, I should probably call Joe," and then the phone will ring and it's Joe. Like, that shit happens in my life every day, all day, and it happens more and more since this has come into my life, because I've discovered it's almost like the secret, like that you are energy and you're attracting what you put out there. Anyway, that's a
right.
whole nother one. I feel like we should start wrapping up because it's been an hour.
Okay.
I don't know.
It, for me, I think it's definitely it's like up there on the high end of like the tools that you have in your toolbox to like keep yourself healthy on a regular basis and in a preventative health manner, right? So there's like, you know eating organic and healthy, right? Consuming like water without fluoride, and what
Or
else?
just even filtered water in general, just basic Brita filtered water.
Like exercising, and then just I mean the list goes on of what you can do on a regular basis to prevent things. And what I've realized through like the COVID thing is like, man, you and we don't get any kind of fucking prize for doing all this shit we do all the time. But if like a pharmaceutical company comes out with this drug that like works 70% of the time, and then there's like 80,000 side effects, they're like, everybody loves it, and it's the greatest thing. And I'm like, motherfuckers, I'm working every goddamn day because I'm thinking about when I'm going to be fucking 80, and I'm 42 now. So I need to do something every single fucking day. Like, I was explaining to my wife that, because she's like, you just kind of think a little bit differently than some people, and like you know, you got more motivation or whatever. I'm like, bro, I don't fucking want to go to the gym every time you see me walk out the door to go fucking work out. You think I want to? You think I'm like, oh my god, yeah, let's do this? No, in my mind, I've already just locked it in. Like, you better go fucking do this, or you're gonna be a piece of fucking shit physically. You're gonna feel like fucking shit. This is my own fucking mind. I have my mind is constantly talking to itself. I'm crazy, but it's already locked in. Like, hey, if this is the goal that you want to be healthy when you're 70, 80 years old because you're an older parent and you want, and I'm talking about Joe, me, I want to be hanging out with my kid when she's 20, 30 years old and like traveling and doing things physically, like activities and stuff like that, then this is what I gotta fucking do. I have to do this whole fucking laundry list of shit on a daily, weekly, monthly basis for the rest of my fucking life. And that's just it. That's just life. So this has become part of that regimen. And maybe 5 years from now, there'll be something else that I'm just gonna add to the fucking toolbox to get to that goal, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the thing that we have in common is the willingness to help ourselves, and also there is I think we talk about this a lot, is the responsibility piece for ourselves is huge. That in that taking responsibility that what I do today is going to either make me better or worse. Every decision that I make is going to either make me better or worse. So I don't necessarily put things in a good or bad, or um, I do think like you in that, I do have a list of things that I keep up on so that I feel my best. The day that I can't go out and go skiing or kayaking or running or swimming or doing the things that I really love to do, which I feel like, most humans enjoy running and swimming and or just being out, being able to walk freely and not be in pain or depressed or sad. And all those things can help you be better. And they do take effort and they take time out of your day. And it's all a choice.
Mm.
Am I going to sit and play video games for 6 hours, or could I play guitar, go for a run, the gym, and cook a wholesome dinner in 6 hours?
Unless
I think,
you're like, playing video games and you're like, that's your job and you're like making money off it, I guess. Then,
right? Some people do.
so for the 6 hours, that's your job, and then go do
Right.
something. It's like, I think a lot of the things that people do that are time consuming, that are not focused on themselves, is escapism. Whether it's TV, video games, even if it's like just talking shit on the phone for an hour to your buddy or whatever. It's all, you're just avoiding the time with yourself to better yourself mentally, physically, however. Like that's the part of the reason why a lot of people avoid even the thought of like having to meditate. It's like almost, they wouldn't probably say it's scary, but it probably is. Like when
Being
they,
alone with your own thoughts, if you
yeah,
don't have control over them, can be scary for sure.
right. And there's so
Or
much stuff overloading our stimulation, everywhere. You just like anywhere you go, grocery store. If you just drive down the fucking road, there's like billboards, there's fucking, all kinds of shit. And you can easily escape your whole life watching the world go round, right? And I think David and I just choose not to do that. Like both of us, we don't watch TV. If we watch things, we watch movies, but they're usually documentaries. Um, I mean, I think there's a time and a place for escapism. Like if you've been working really hard all week long on your stuff, whether it's your business, your health, your whatever it is. I mean, this is just my opinion, but like if everybody, I think everybody can agree that if they look at themselves, they'd be like, yes, I want to better myself. And in this much time, however it is, 5 years, 1 year, 10 years, I would like to be doing other things. And they look at people like traveling on yachts and stuff like that. And they're like, I want to do that. That's great. That looks amazing. Well, get to fucking work. Get to fucking work every fucking second of your day. That's how you get that shit, you know? And you got to put those goals up here, and you got to see the laundry list of shit to achieve that fucking goal. And it takes forever, and it takes time, and everything's fucking hard. That's it. That's it. That's the mentality you have to fucking have, and then just be like, fuck yeah about it. Be like, yes, everything's fucking hard. Fuck yeah.
Well, I mean, I know you, I feel like you're coming across very, very harsh right now.
Am I?
But I also will say I agree with you on a lot of things. And I remember when I was having a bit of a meltdown myself. COVID had lasted a lot longer than we wanted, and
Did you have the Healy then? I was just thinking about that.
yeah, yeah, we did.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But like there's a lot of things. The last couple of years have been really, really hard. If I were to focus on the hard things, I guess is my point, then I would never get to the good stuff. But I did have a little breakdown, and I called you when I had that breakdown, and you said owning a business is hard. And what did you say? You were like, you just have. You said
Listen,
something like you have to find out how to love the shit,
love the shit. Yeah.
something like that. And I was like, at that,
Love the
literally, that
process.
was
That's what I said. You got to love
love.
the
Yeah,
process.
love the process. Love like that. Not everything is always great and pleasant, but if you're working towards something um, that you want in life, then you have to find ways to work through the hard stuff. And to me, that rolls down to perspective, right? Like
Hmm.
when you go to the gym and you don't really want to go to the gym, it's not every day that you don't want to go to the gym. It's just that you're having yourself, you're making a pact with yourself to go to the gym and do something for yourself because in the long run you want to be healthy and be throwing soul up still is as long as you can.
Hmm.
And that's a goal, and that's the light, and that's what you get to focus on.
Yeah.
But not every day is that. Every day, there may be a week stretch there where you're like, God, I don't want to do this, but you know that the back pains come back, the aches and pains come back, and so it's just I don't know what I'm trying to say either. Just
Yeah, I think
perspective
you're
on
getting at
everything.
like, the harshness that I said it. Like, listen, I don't live my life like, oh fuck, everything's hard.
I
I'm,
know you don't because
I'm
I
not.
know you well, but you're coming across
The
that
only,
way, and that's what I'm.
the only reason that I say that is because, in actuality, it is. But because I've just, I love every moment, the process, the like. When I say everything's hard, because when I do things, and maybe people look at us and they're like, oh, look at this guy, he's living in Florida. And I used to get that shit all the time when we lived in Miami. People, because I'd be like, yeah, dolphins in my backyard, this is fucking great. They'd be like, oh, it's easy for you. And I'm like, no, it's not easy for me. It was very extremely hard to get to this point, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And every
I
day
just don't
is,
focus on it.
but
Yeah,
because I'm okay with every day being like that, is why I get to enjoy these moments like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's everything is hard, but at some point when you overcome that and embrace that and love the process of every day and all the things that it takes to get to your goals, then it just becomes normal and you're happy and you love it, right? So that's what I was trying to get at. Sorry if I made it seem as though life is just hard and you're never gonna figure it out. The Healy will help you feel.
no, I mean, I think it's yeah, that's true. But I mean, there is a good balance between you and me because I do sometimes drift into the everything is positive all the time world, even though real talk, it's I know it's not, but it's how I get through things. And I think that the more real you are with everything, that's when things become honest.
Mm,
And if you're honest about where you're at, then you can um, more accurately project where you want to be and how to get there. I think if anyone is aware of Abraham Hicks, he has a wheel, and it really helped me in my 20s because it was the first time I ever heard of somebody basically saying be okay with where you're at and be realistic about where you're going, because if you're not okay with where you're at and you're not realistic about where you're going, and you're like, I want that yacht, but you're not, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you want the yacht. So you're going to be unhappy every day if you don't have the yacht. And to get there, what are you doing to get there? Where's the realistic part about that, you know? And like you're saying, if you want the yacht, it's going to be
You got
really hard to
Yeah,
get it, but you'll get it. Um, I don't want a yacht. I just want to be on someone's yacht.
right. That's an actual smart way to think about it, right?
Just hang out, maybe rent it for the day, have a party. Um, anyway,
Yeah, it's not about it's about the experiences, right? It's about the moments and just you know I don't know. Money's also energy, right?
that's a whole nother rabbit hole. It has been an hour and 21
Oh,
minutes. I'm just thinking like
yeah.
we should break because this is our first podcast. I feel like we've covered a lot of stuff, and I would love for people to keep coming back and really be interested in where we're going in this journey, and also invite people to message us. And if you want to be in on this conversation and talk about it and ask questions or whatever, I want this to be completely open and
Mm,
allow for space for us to have conversation. I don't want anyone ever to feel like we're going on, oh, there's guys are going on live again and talking at us. I don't
yeah,
ever want to feel like that. I don't want to ever make anyone feel like that. I want this to be an open, completely open community building experience, because energy and frequency to me is a topic I think we're both passionate about, coming from the sound engineer perspective and more. And we have a lot to cover.
yeah. I think we're you know as time goes on, it'll be really cool because anybody that is because currently right now, as far as the Healy goes, it's like difficult to really get a lot of information about it in the United States right now, even on YouTube or whatever. But this will be nice because we'll create an area where people can actually come on here and ask us like, does it do this? Does it do that? How does this work? Blah 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 blah. Live right here, and we can answer them. Um, as time goes on, obviously, as we build the group and stuff like that. But yeah, listen, I
Yeah.
don't care. We can talk. I mean, I'm basically limited by my daughter on some days in the afternoons, but uh, listen, I'll have 5 hour long podcasts. Who cares? We could chop it up. We could do whatever we want. We don't have to post the whole thing, or we can post the whole thing, or we could post parts of it, or we can do whatever the fuck we want. It doesn't fucking matter.
True.
It's
True.
our frequency project, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, I know you said you only have so much time today, so we can get going. But yeah, we'd like to do this on a fairly regular basis. We're gonna start a group, right?
Well,
I
how
guess.
about I got 13 minutes.
Oh, you got 13 minutes left. Okay,
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the gym.
I have
This
39 minutes. Um, but yeah, let's just really quickly explain what we want to do. There's a few things we're still trying to like figure out, like we want to do a group, or do we want to do like a page? I don't know what the
Yeah,
difference
no,
is.
I created a Facebook group.
Oh, you already did it.
Yeah,
Can you
so
find it in there now?
I think we could drop it in the video, maybe every time, so we can get people to join the group if they're interested, and then maybe through the group we let people know we're going live or something like that.
Is there a
Um,
link? Can you do you have access to this chat over here? Do you see that?
yeah, I see us talking live, and then I see. So here is. I've
So
already.
can you send me the link to the group?
I'm trying to see. Yeah, I think I can copy it and then I can send it to you in a private message,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Then I can post. Oh, okay, yep, got it. And then I'll
Yeah.
just post it in the group there. That way, everybody. Copy. Boom. And that's in here.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Group.
let's see.
Whoa. Sorry, that's not supposed to be there.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, whoa. No, no,
I
no.
just added it. I added it in my comments section.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where it would go. Yeah. So I posted in there too, and
And
then
you should have it on your comment section, I think.
yep.
So yeah, we've created a group on Facebook where the intent is obviously to continue down this path talking about frequency and energy and how important it is. And there's a lot of topics, we're going to cover how wealth and money is a frequency, how consciousness, how thoughts. Um, so we're just really scratching the surface here, and it really just draws more attention and the importance of our energy. So I guess
Yeah, and
that's
we'd like to have other people on here. Uh, if anybody's out there that has one of these Heelys, like let us know too, because we'd like to have you on and give your side of things. You know, and I think maybe next episode we should more really break this thing down and how it works, and maybe do like maybe I can share my screen somehow onto. I think I can do that actually,
yep,
and
yeah,
then
that'd be cool.
through the process of doing it, um, and then maybe look through some of the programs and stuff like that, and we'll just go from there. We'll just keep it going. But yeah, this podcast isn't just necessarily about the Healy. It definitely kind of inspired the whole thing, and it is part of it. But I think we're going to talk about all kinds of things on here, mostly to do with, I would say, health and um, just social stuff, right? A mental
all
aspect of
through the all through the thread line of energy, vibration, frequency, which is
which
everything.
is everything. So we could basically talk about anything. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we could get into quantum physics and all that stuff. Once again, neither of us are doctors or any scientists or anything like that, but we just love doing research. Oh, so you got what do you got? Like 10 minutes left? Let's talk about the goddamn fucking
Eight
document.
minutes.
So last night I'm like, oh, I'm not really feeling good. My fucking wife was sick, and I thought I got past it, but all of a sudden it like hit me last night, and so he's like, oh, run the immune system program. So I'm running that, and then he sends me another text. He's like, oh, check this out, and it's this documentary. So I'm like, all right. I was literally gonna like I was actually gonna have a moment of escapism before I went to bed, right? But because I'm so like programmed to not escape, he sends me this and I'm like, fuck, all right, fine, I'll play it. I knew it was gonna be something I was gonna like really probably get into, but I didn't really have the time for it, but I did it anyway. So, anyways, what's the name of the documentary?
I don't even remember. It's called like the water something.
Yeah,
First of all, let me just let me just preface this in that because you and I like to go down rabbit holes no matter where it's going to take us. Like we're never scared.
right.
We're always open for new opinions. We are always willing to have conversations and we never claim to know everything.
Yeah.
But, like there's a lot going on with COVID and there's a lot of things going around YouTube. And so somebody sent me this video a while back, a musician friend of mine who's in his 50s and he's cool as shit. And he's like, check this out. And so it's a 40-minute video basically talking about the possibility that Bing Liu, the researcher that was working on COVID and that was killed, it's called a murder suicide, um, could have, the theory is that he could have possibly been onto something and then that kind of went down a path of some crazy things. So I just feel like we should leave it there, leave the link in the comments, and, just like mic drop.
Just like that.
I don't know. I mean, because I don't want to
Does it
say,
sound
like,
like hokey and like conspiracy theory? That's why you don't want to talk about it?
yeah, because I don't ever claim to like believe everything, and I take everything for with a grain of salt.
Well,
But
first off, the guy's a doctor that's getting interviewed, but he's a chiropractic doctor, right? So
correct.
there's like, all right. But a lot of the things he was really connecting some dots, and then they show, they're obviously doing like Google searches and then showing articles and also news broadcasts, like saying what he's saying, you
Right.
know.
And the other part of it, okay, so I will say the other part that so I do remember when I was in Australia and COVID was coming out and we were just reading about it, and that was when the start of tracking the numbers of infected people started. And I remember the article in Australia, I was in Melbourne, was that it had originated from a pangolin.
I remember that. Yeah, well, I don't even know what the fuck that is.
A pangolin is it's just an animal. It's another
Like a
animal that's
marsupial thing, something.
it's kind of like a platypus and a armadillo and
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a pangolin. It's a different
It's a
it's
penguin.
it's a pangolin. um, but apparently, the theory was that people at the wet market had come in contact with the little bad pangolin meat, and then COVID had spread, and that was the first article. And I was like, "What the?" But who knows? Then I missed a lot because I kind of went offline for a while, and I guess the median part was that it could have came from a king cobra snake, and then we landed on bat, and the bat part is what we've all focused on, that the protein spikes that happen with the COVID virus are from a bat. Now, this theory from this video that we've just dropped is saying that it's actually from the king cobra, and it's creating a cytokine storm within your
You
organs
got a lot of
similar.
stuff here, right? Like, yes, it's a created in a lab. Like, if you believe that theory that it was a lab created virus, this guy is saying that snake venom is actually in the virus.
Well, they're not saying that at all. They're saying
What
that
is it?
no, that we have said that the spike protein is from bat DNA. But what they're saying is that the spike protein is from snake venom. So they're saying that the cytokine storm that's being created by the COVID virus in organs is similar to snake venom poisoning. Now, whether I believe that or not is a whole nother story, but it's definitely out there and there's a lot of people passing it around. And I find it very interesting that there's lots of different, viewpoints. That's all. I will leave it at that. I'm done talking.
I mean, it goes so deep that it's like for all those that like are like, man, there's some worldwide conspiracy to like fucking kill off people and do all this shit. This is actually something that almost legitimizes that.
Right, which is why it's, being passed around and,
And it's like not in like a weird, crazy, like out of this world, like there's fucking aliens are taking over lizards or some shit. Like it's like, hey, well, this company bought that company and this company does XYZ.
he
So
does follow a thread
this,
that's compelling. I will say compelling.
yeah. That guy, what was his name again? It was Dr. Brian.
I don't remember the chiropractor's name. I just remember specifically because I can only say what I know from my experience, right? And that is When I was in Australia, they said it was a pangolin. That's true. I read articles, they were like legitimate articles from legitimate sources. And then I also remember when Bing Lu
I
came
remember
up
that one.
missing,
Yeah.
and they were basically, people were trying to find out um, what happened, and there was a journalist went missing, and so it draws a very interesting narrative that I could see how a lot of people could think that he was assassinated. Whether I believe it or not, I don't know. I'm just saying that's what they're putting out there, and I think you know it's something to think about, right?
Well, this guy, I mean, for those that aren't aware of Bing Liu, I guess this guy he worked for a research facility in Pennsylvania where he was about to release the studies that he had done on COVID and where he believes it stems from. And those studies have yet to come out because, first off, because he got killed and like the news reported on it. You can go on YouTube and search this guy's name, Bing Lu Bing, right?
Bing Lu.
And second off, because obviously the facility has his studies, but they won't release it now. But he was basically going to come out and say that there's venom in the fucking virus.
Yeah, but that is really oversimplifying it. I think that's
I know.
that's why conspiracy theorists get spread around, because
Well, I'm trying to
you start to
oversimplify
like
it.
oversimplify it. And to
I'm
me, they're talking about the cytokine. I'm obviously not a scientist, but I've read a lot lately, and there's a lot that's out there if you want to read, that talks about the spike proteins and the cytokine storms that happen within your organs to have organ failure to then die from COVID. And
the
the they're
same.
saying they're saying that the cytokine storm is not being created from a bat protein; it's being created from a king cobra snake venom or a crate snake venom protein, which would be very sinister if that was happening. But, you know, that's crazy. And why would we want to put that energy out there? We don't want to put that energy out there.
See, that's your thing, right? So you have these thoughts and whatever, but like you choose not to put that type of energy out into the world. But at the same time, you're not like communicating about what potential thoughts are there. So I think through a conversation about this stuff that you can we can put like I don't know, a positive spin on it or like eh, it's the truth. The truth is the truth. Sometimes the truth fucking
Yeah,
is shitty, you know?
yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I come from a place that I feel like time is ticking. We are in this like fork in the road in human civilization where we have choices. We can make better choices now, like with solar panels and electric power and looking to nature to find answers to the problems that we have within this world. And to me, spending time on a side, like spending any energy there in a like we'll never get answers, right? We'll never find out how Bing Lu died. We'll never know. We will never know. We can
You know where the
spend days probably. That guy has spent like half his life to probably make that little video.
yeah, but you know where the positive side of this is making people aware so that they can do things. Because at the end of that documentary, it actually had a list. I don't know if you saw at the very end of minerals or vitamins or other things that you can take that can help with the defense of your body from
Yeah,
these.
like vitamin C and copper and,
Well, it was like zinc and some other
zinc. Yeah.
right. So like that's like if we had that conversation, that would be the focus. Like, listen, we're making you aware that this is a possibility, right? here's the compelling evidence. Whether we believe it or not, if you're trying to, because that's what we're talking about here most of the time, right? Preventive
Prevention,
health,
right?
right? If you do
100%.
believe it, then take these things. If you don't, okay, but you could still take these things and they're going to benefit you. They're not going to hurt you. Like zinc doesn't hurt you, right?
Well, here's also the caveat, and then
By
we
the way,
have
my
to
sister
end
wants
this.
to pop in real quick.
And then who?
My sister's on here. You want to pop her in?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing to this. Hey, sis.
No audio.
Oh,
Oh,
aloha, guys.
We
hey,
got you. What's up?
there's
I'm
Kim.
just listening. I'm taking it in. I listened to this whole video yesterday.
It's crazy, right?
Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
watched the documentary too because I sent it to her last night. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's hard. And this isn't the only one with their own theory, but there's other ones out there that do the research and do have the science to back it up and the articles to back it up. Like Dave was saying, it's an interesting mix to throw in the bag that is just as valid as like a few of these other things that have been out there. But
Yeah.
it seems the most valid as of late.
But what else is going on right now is that like there's so much information out there, so many different ideas and thoughts on
Right.
every single fucking thing you can think of. Never mind just corona, like health, freaking whatever. And anybody can go in any avenue and just believe what they want to believe. Whereas we're just trying to just say, here's everything. This is what these people are doing here. These are what these people are doing. This is what we're doing.
Well, and I mean, going back to what you were saying earlier, Joe, about like where I choose to put my energy and stuff, like also thinking about what we're trying to do with this project, and bring people in to talk about energy and vibration and all these things, and consciousness. Yes, these things in our daily life are affecting us, but also it is a quick pathway to get censored. Like I have I have
yes.
so many friends that
Forgot about
they're I have a friend who's a chiropractor who refuses to go online again because he got banned. I have
and
and
for what?
I'm not talking about people who are like conspiracy theorists. I'm just talking about people saying like their mind, like, oh, something is weird going on here. Like I believe in holistic medicine, to heal myself from sickness, and trying to find the line between COVID and he got banned, and my friend Peter has been banned like 6 times. And once you get banned, you can't come back for like 29 days, and then on top of it you get lowered in the algorithm for 59 days. He just sent me a screenshot of the latest censorship that he got, and all he does is post like, take vitamin C if you're feeling down, like.
What?
So
That's crazy.
it is crazy. So
But it's valid. It shows it's a good example of what's happening out there.
Yeah, and if you watch this documentary, it might make a little more sense why they would do that.
well, I will say, I don't believe everything I see, but I'm
I mean, if
100%
any of that
open.
is true, they should just like let it go and just let people come to their own conclusions. Like I don't see like by banning people like that
It's
on
just
these little
showing.
simple things is actually making it a bigger deal than it should be. Like, like
Right.
it's drawing more attention to any behind the scenes stuff than it is if they just let it go.
Yeah. And it makes it seem more sinister
Suspicious.
or
And it makes more
suspicious.
people look
Yeah.
into it. It makes more
It's
people.
like,
Yeah.
why are you banning people for putting like holistic
I mean, we
ideas or
should see
thoughts
how
out there?
long this video even lasts.
Ugh, don't say that. So no, you just brought this to my attention now, and we need to self-censor ourselves just to get this out there. So we kind of like got to talk in code.
Yeah, I mean, the Healy alone is already a borderline wellness product. So
Right.
coming at it in the idea of frequency and energy, I think is smarter than talking about wellness, even though
Mm-hmm.
the end result for me is wellness and everyday practice with wellness. That would be like banning me for talking about doing a yoga practice, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
well, like doing yoga and meditating is great for you, and then next day we get banned.
Like, I don't know.
Well, as long as
Well,
we
like
didn't
like
say
the
that it
Healy
cures
is
it, huh?
like a tool. The Healy is a tool. Like it helps you navigate what's going on with you and lets you take appropriate decisions and actions for yourself. I don't
Right.
have a Healy, but I'm in a place where I'm listening more to just go moving forward in a positive manner in my own pace with blinders on. Like, don't look at anybody else. You're in your own path. It'll happen for you when it needs to happen in its own time. Just keep trucking forward in your own path and it
Yes.
will come. And so far, since I've embraced that over the past 2 years, things have come slowly but surely. And I'm hoping that this year might be a more impactful year for myself since now COVID's kind of dying and what I do in art, I have to physically put myself out there and do like a pop-up show and stuff. So I'm starting to do that now.
That's
And I'm a
awesome.
little afraid. And these are part of the things that suck about getting to your goal. Like
Right.
I'm confident in my work, but it makes me anxious. I have a little anxiety about like physically setting up and being there. But if I don't do it and learn the process, I can't get to where I'm going. And I have to do this admin stuff behind the scenes for art. And I have to do a website and I have to do social media and I have to learn these things. But I've learned them through my ties at Monet and now doing admin for them and I can use it for myself. But it's like I tell my kids every day, in order to get to where you have to do a lot of things you don't want to do every day. Like, I don't want to make dinner for you every day, but I have to. I don't want to fold your clothes and do a million loads of laundry every day, but I have to. Someone has to do it in order for us to have the good days where we spend the whole day out hiking or something.
So Kim is, I'd call you a professional artist at this point. You're a
And
professional
an
artist,
author.
right? And an
And an
author.
author.
Yeah, she wrote
Yes.
a book, Soul's Talent, right? Hold on, I should know
Soul
this.
finds her talent.
Soul
You
finds her
should know
talent.
that.
My daughter's name is Soul. It's about my daughter. And so that can be found on Amazon, right? And what's your website
Mm-hmm.
for your art?
It's KimberlyRatliffArt.com.
Right. So yeah, she's starting a business. We actually just last night we like went into a pretty overload of numerology, right? And
Oh, I could talk about that forever.
that's another thing that kind of like plays along with this. You still got a few minutes, David, or no?
Well, I feel like I've got to go in
Oh, you
four
guys are
minutes.
like what
4
on
minutes.
2 hours
Okay.
now?
So
Jeez.
4 minutes. So you were talking about shit. How does this correlate?
Well, with Dave, just to put a plug out for your products, I am living my truth,
I love it. I
Yes.
and I
love it,
have my
Kim.
shirt.
I've noticed you like over the last 2 years, like put yourself out there and all your
Yeah.
creativity. And I know like from my point of view, like it is hard to do. And like sometimes you're scared to do it and you don't want to do it. But if you run to that fear, that's where the magic
Well,
happens, right? Where you don't
Yes.
know.
you right, you have to run towards it, and you have to just like move forward.
Yeah.
Like if
Do
Yeah.
you
things that
don't
scare
do it, then nothing's going to come. You have to ignore the fear. You
Yeah.
you can't give the fear power. You have to look at a different perspective. Like, okay,
That's it.
I just have to do this. Period. Like no excuses, no ins and outs, no ifs and buts or whatever. Like this is just something I have to do. And
Live
let's
your
just
truth.
like
You're
focus
living
and
it.
get through the points so that we can get to the other side of that and then
All
see
right.
all the good stuff.
I remember
Yeah.
where the numerology comes into play. So you were
Okay.
talking. So you're talking about how the Healy can like um, make you were talking about how this can kind of make you more independent, personal responsibility, all these other things, make you become the person that you want to be, right? uh, yes, once again, yes, a tool. Numerology is also a tool. Not everybody is a leader, although the media makes it seem as though you're supposed to be the boss or in control of everything. There's a lot of people that are meant to be on earth to just help others do work, right? So, but what the Healy and numerology can do is create an awareness of who you are, so you can play your role in the group, the whole energy mass of society that we live in, right? And live the happiest you life in your path, the direction that you're supposed to be in, right? But there's a bunch
That's
of
the big picture.
there's a bunch of things that have to go along with that. You know, you're talking about how like everybody's just like, you know, the universe is happening to you all the time, right? Those types of people that are like, oh well, this happened to me today and that happened to me, blah blah, blah, and they feel like they have no control. Now the
You
Healy,
have control.
numerology, and most of all, awareness of self-awareness is the main key, and knowing your place, right? Understanding your numerology. So we talked about my sister's numerology yesterday. She's a 5, which is all about like traveling. She lives in Hawaii. She travels all the time to different islands. They go to
Yeah, we're going to Tahiti this summer.
they go everywhere, right? So she's
Yes.
like living, unbeknownst to her, she's just been doing it. Good for you. That's when you're
Living my
really,
truth without knowing, but I mean,
yeah.
it's not.
But then there's like details within that too that can help you understand, like you have like life challenges and stuff like that. So anyways, these are all the things that we
It's
can
just
get into
tools.
too,
Yeah.
Dave, you know.
Like it gives you the big picture, but also on a small scale, it gives you the tools to make the decisions to gain more control of being the star of your own movie.
Right.
Like control over your life and where you want to go. Like don't be the mailman.
The way I see it is like
Yeah, the bystander just watching your family live and you're not doing anything.
like you just said, like be the star of your own show. It's like that's how I see it. I see it as like all humans are like actually living in their heads and somewhere else, right? And they're like just controlling this human on Earth, right? And they
A
can
lot of
actually
people aren't
be
controlling
controlling it,
themselves.
or they could just kind of like, oh, there's my character just floating around there, you know. So it's like being more control. All right, so then there's physical aspects of like, okay, so in my mind, in my video game head or whatever, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z goal. Okay, so now I have to go into my character, the human character on Earth, right, and play him in and do all these checklist things over the course of however much time to get to that goal.
Right. You
That's
can
my
visualize that before you do it.
Hey guys, I have to go. You guys can keep talking.
Yeah, well, Soul just woke up, so I got to get going too. But I mean, this
Oh,
was
yeah, she's going to want to see
2
the
hours.
dogs. She
We're
only
gonna do
calls
this
me
more
for
though,
the
Kim. I'm
dog
glad you
show.
jumped on.
Yay!
Yeah.
I mean, with the time difference, I'm shocked.
Oh yeah,
Get you hooked up to one of these
This
things.
wasn't even planned.
I know. Either was this really.
Yeah.
We just decided
And that's
let's just
good.
do it today,
Organic planning. That's how I roll.
Well, there you
and
go. You
that's
start
what we
somewhere,
wanted to
right?
do. That's what the whole idea with the frequency project. Like you picked up on the wave.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. Today was the first day, and cheers to many more.
Yeah, love you guys.
All
All
right.
right. Love you too. Aloha.
Bye.
Cheers.